Yee, and indeed, ha, the Ford Mustang returns for a new generation, and is the second iteration that officially makes it to the UK with proper right-hand drive specifications. The last one caught the attention of so many enthusiasts here, with Ford itself setting up events like celebrating Mustang Day in the UK for the growing list of owners. For this new model, Ford has introduced a high-performance variant from the get-go, the Dark Horse. It promises to be a little like the Mach 1 of the previous generation, inject a bit more serious performance engineering to sharpen up what is, let's be honest, quite a thuggish and heavy-handed muscle car. So, does it all work? At a glance, pros: sharper dynamic edge and better grip inspire confidence, rare yet welcome powertrain configuration, character by the skip load. Cons: it's now Cayman GTS money, interior quality is lacking, its heavy-handed controls will be tiring in traffic. What's new? While the long bonnet, short tail proportions could be nothing but Mustang. All the sheet metal bar the roof and some of the door structure is new versus the 6th generation model. That said, the strut front, multi-link rear suspension and the Coyote 5.0-liter V8 are all familiar under that mostly fresh sheet metal, albeit with some heavy revisions. The interior represents a bigger break with tradition, with twin screens and flashy graphics replacing the old classic look, more on that below. Perhaps crucially, the Dark Horse name is the first new performance nameplate in 21 years. And billed as the road legal, track-ready cousin of those new GT4 and GT3 race cars. What are the specs? So far there are two UK specs, the GT and Dark Horse. We focus on the latter here. Both get a 5.0-liter Coyote V8, choice of 6-speed manual or 10-speed auto, and are, of course, rear-wheel drive only. There is surprisingly little between the two when it comes to performance. However, both are down substantially on US figures, thanks to our emissions regulations and a gasoline particulate filter. And the 447 bhp Dark Horse is only 7 bhp more powerful than the regular GT. Rather, the Dark Horse's engineering focuses on track-ready durability, details like enhanced oil and diff cooling and a lightweight radiator feature here. As does a Tremec 6-speed manual that replaces the standard GetRag unit in the GT. That differing manual shift is there in the name of robustness, but its shorter ratios and final drive help make up for some of the lack of power difference between the two. Dark Horse models also benefit from standard MagneRide adaptive suspension with pothole mitigation as standard, a 1,750 pounds option for the GT, and a Torsen limited slip diff. To visually set the two apart, Dark Horse models come with a rear spoiler, a new design of the same size 19-inch alloys and slightly different interior trim including unique blue accents and a unique, and quite tasty, blue ember paint color available. What's it like to drive? The Dark Horse represents a solid step forward over its predecessor, keeping all the Mustang's distinctive US flavor while adding more nimble handling to the mix. Faster steering is key, with its eager response off-center, consistent weighting and a self-centering effect for a lovely planted feel on the straights. But, despite the car's general bulk, the Dark Horse comes alive on some British backroads. That standard MagneRide suspension definitely helps. Lock it into sport damping and there's body control to keep up with the pacey steering, giving you the confidence to work all four tires hard with big confident inputs rather than sticking to gentle, progressive ones. Even so, the ride setup still has the compliance and travel to flow with the road. Only on the worst surfaces at low speeds did it feel lumpy. It all makes the Mustang feel more compact and lighter, even if it's fractionally larger and heavier than before. Gear shifts for the Tremec box are pretty physical, the GT's GetRag is slicker, but the initial reluctance across the gate melts away if you slot gears more positively. And there's a certain engagement in that. And, if you're a noob to heel and towing, software can jump in with some super satisfying throttle blips on downshifts. More than anything else, though, it makes it a riot on the right road. EU Mustangs are quieter compared to domestic market ones, but, to our ears, the Dark Horse doesn't exactly sound like a Prius either. It's deep and burbly and, when in sport, happy to growl, snarl and burble just like a muscle car should. Chucking the Dark Horse from corner to corner on a sunny day on our favorite back roads instigated almost permanent smiles, some of which you might be able to spot in our photography. No question this chassis can deal with way more than this 446 bhp. But equally there's involvement to be had from carving this chassis hard and climbing all over the throttle the second you're past the apex. It's a proper roll your sleeves up sort of car, which may make it a little tiresome in heavy traffic or congested urban streets. But it oozes feel-good factor whatever speed you're driving. What's the interior like? The big difference inside compared to the previous version lies with new twin 12.4 and 13.2-inch screens stretching across to the center console and using graphics by Unreal Engine gaming software. No doubt it's a step forwards in terms of connectivity, but it does mean losing the Mustang's classic symmetrical dashboard with central triple air vents between twin hooded cowls. Mostly we got on well with it, with many of the functions and settings applied here being the same across all Fords. That said, some of the Mustang's drive mode functions and menus felt like a faff to go through, even if there are some quick access buttons on the steering wheel to change drive modes. In an effort to add a retro twist, Ford has also included the option of changing the look of your driver's instruments to look like older Mustang models. A neat touch. In terms of behind-the-wheel stuff, the driving position is suitably sporty, with a seat that drops nice and low. Plus the pedals are dead ahead and laid out to make heel and toe a cinch. The standard seats are comfortable. But the optional 2,000 pounds Recaros we tried in the US are some of the finest chairs we've ever sat in. Spec them immediately. As for quality, some slightly cheap plastics and the odd creak here and there may have been justifiable 30,000 pounds ago but isn't quite so now. Add in cup holders that are in the worst place for an involving manual car, i.e. right in the way of where you'd have your arm when shifting gears, and a fake, manual, handbrake lever that is actually an e-brake in disguise and it's a cockpit not entirely free of weirdness. Before you buy, precious few of us, I'd wager, would ever cross-shop with anything when looking at buying a Mustang. You buy one because you want one, and because what it offers is something particularly rare to us in Europe, a brash muscle car that oozes presence and power. That said, the Mustang, particularly in this Dark Horse, isn't as inexpensive as older ones would have been. The last generation felt distinctly good value compared with the kinds of cars it would go up against, even if it has a particularly different personality to something like a Porsche Cayman. But with the Dark Horse, you're going to need 70,000 pounds before you even get anywhere near one. A punchy amount of money when something like a truly excellent 718 Cayman GTS 4.0 or BMW M2 command a very similar premium. Stock will also be pretty limited. 2. Not only will Ford be ensuring it can make as much profit on a RHD Mustang as it can to justify building them, but EU fleet emission averages are already constricting supply. We'd also avoid the auto unless you absolutely must have it. We've driven Mustang models with the 10-speeder equipped and it almost never feels like it's in a gear, and gives the distinct impression that it's sapping power. Verdict: Ford Mustang Dark Horse. The Mustang not only finds itself squaring up against Europe's best in the World Endurance Championship, but it's having to square up to the Europeans on the road. 2. This Dark Horse version feels like a tactile step forward when it comes to handling noose over a regular GT model. But 70,000 pounds is a considerable chunk of dosh to impart on one. What you're getting for that money is pretty self-explanatory. A muscle car that's excellent fun to hustle down your favorite road, putting the fattest smile on your face when doing so. Is it perfect? No. You still have to manhandle it a bit, and the interior's not really up to snuff for a car of this price. But you'll be too busy making that V8 roar to notice. Specs. Price when new: £67,995. On sale in the UK, now. Engine: 5038cc 32 VV8. 447 bhp at 7,250 revolutions per minute. 398 pound-feet at 5,100 revolutions per minute. Transmission: 6-speed manual Tremec gearbox. Rear-wheel drive. Performance: 5.2 seconds 0 to 62 miles per hour. 164 miles per hour. Weight, material: 1,837 kilograms, steel. Dimensions: length, width, height in m. 4819, 2097 1403.